People of the internet, it is time, once again, to predict the ban list. What cards will stay? What cards will go? Only Konami really knows. Going in reverse order, as always, the Unlimits. The first one being Herald of Orange Light. Herald was and still is used in Drytron, but it can also be utilized in Tier. It was basically put into the quarantine zone last list, and I can't think of a deck that's really using it this format. I think I may have mentioned this last time, but Spellbook of Judgment can come straight to 3. It's limited right now, and no one's even touching it. Putting it to 3, there might be some experimentation, but it'll just fade to obscurity. And onto the semi-limited list. I really don't know what to say about it. This is mostly because the last semi-limited list was just so what the hell. Like, sure, hitting Runic Fountain and Sprite Starter were good hits, kinda, but like putting Unicorn and Lightning Storm to 2, why? Like, it was so irrelevant because it did nothing to cash, and everybody was only running 2 Lightning Storm anyways, so what was the point? So, I don't know. I'm not in favor of getting rid of the semi-limited list like every other Yu-Gi tuber is, but man, Konami is not making it easy to defend it. The limited list, though, I have a few things to say about it. We're gonna start off with Kashtira. The 2 hits I think are probably gonna happen is Fenrir and Burst to 1. Fenrir is just a little too splashable in other decks. It can summon itself out very easily and search another copy of itself on top of its really powerful banish effect. That is a little absurd. Limiting it to 1 would alienate it to just Kashtira and tier elements. Burst is just absurd in its own little way. Not only are you able to ignore tributing for a level 7 monster, but you can also just revive one from the graveyard, or banish. And hey, did you activate a spell card this turn? Banish 3 cards from your graveyard. I would almost argue that it's ban worthy, and it might just end up getting banned anyways, but I have a reason why I'm not putting it to 0, which I'll reveal later. I've seen a lot of people calling Bestial Rebellion, and I think I can agree to that. Dragon League can run at 3 with no issues, by discarding itself to get a Bysteel monster, which is just a combo extender for the deck. It can also summon itself to get regained for a combo extension yet again, or Branded Beast for disruption. In Branded, it gives them either Beast or Lost. Pearly doesn't get to eat, and they don't get to sleep either, because we're gonna put Sleepy Memory to 1. Drawing 2 during the standby phase is a lot more reasonable than drawing 6 and having an unaffected monster. You know what? I want Zodiacs. Really, the only card that could probably come back is Trident. That way, the deck would have to rely on Tenki resolving in order to get their plays going. And the game plan for Zodiac doesn't really change if we get Trident back. All the deck really gets is an easier to summon interrupt on turn 1. And Meow Meow Mew is also probably fine to bring back to 1. It got banned at the exact same time as Verte and Anaconda, and Prank Kids have not been doing anything since then. Not only that, but the meta is entirely different from when they were the best deck. And the deck doesn't have access to DP anymore because of Verte getting banned. So I think Meow Meow Mew at 1 would be perfectly fine. Bans, I'm gonna start out with the hits to my own deck. The first one is Albion the Sanctifier Dragon. The gimmick lock is stupid, and I demonstrated in the last video just how easy it is to get out. One could argue that banning Gimmick Puppet and Ido would fix the lock, and that does technically fix it, but I'm under the opinion that people will just pivot to Ross Disciple or some other way to lock out their opponent, with very minimal changes of how the combo works functionally. And I think the deck becomes a lot more interesting without the lock. The next one is Branded Lost. Making it so that your opponent can't respond to fusion summons, and can't negate the activations of cards that would fusion summon, is a little unreasonable. And on top of that, it can search out Mercarrier on a fusion summon. So it's a bit dumb, and it's searchable off of a variety of cards, and it should go away. Speaking of locks, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity has always been balanced around its really hard summoning condition. But many more cards have come out since 2016 that have made it easier to get out, and Vanadium has the easiest time doing so. And that's on top of having Chaos Angel and Baron. Labyrinth hasn't escaped the ban list for long enough, and it's time to deal with the one problem card of the deck, and that is Eradicator Epidemic Virus. It might be meme-worthy to rip out 5 spell cards out of your opponent's hand, but that really only highlights the problem of the deck. Being able to rip out your opponent's entire hand on the first turn. And Labyrinth has the easiest access to it and can do it turn 1. Other decks like Branded and D-Link can use it as an option, but they can't search it out and kind of have to hope to draw into it. Every time I talk about Thunder Dragon Colossus coming off the list, my friend points out that the general meta is probably fine from Colossus, but it's a gatekeeper for Rogue. And that's exactly how I feel about Kashtira Arise Heart. However, Kashtira is the best deck in the format, and not only gatekeeps Rogue, but other decks have trouble with it too. A walking Macrocosmos is not exactly easy to get around. Plus, it refills its materials for its quick effect Banish. With Arise Heart gone, the deck becomes a lot more fair, and a lot easier to play around. Let me know what you think down below, along with anything I may have missed. My name is Vincent, I am the Race Duelist. Goodbye.